up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I have been waiting to do this video for far too long. I am officially in my 15th week of pregnancy when I'm filming this, and I have been meaning to do a first trimester recap for some time, and I keep putting it off because I keep thinking like, oh, I need to get I need to do my hair and I need to do my makeup and I need to look pulled together. And then I was like, Jade, what are you thinking? First trimester is nothing glamorous, so why get all pulled up and dressed up and pulled together when first trimester is nothing like that, and my life in general is nothing like that. So I want to be completely real, completely honest, and just share my honest opinion on how my first trimester was and all that I experienced in my very first pregnancy. So if this is something that interests you, if you enjoy watching my journey and seeing all the things that are going on in my day-to-day life, be sure to click that subscribe button down below. Be sure to turn on those notifications so you don't ever miss a video from me. And I would love to hear in the comments down below how long you've been following me and what you enjoy on my page. I'm always looking for new ideas on what you guys want to see me filming. So put those suggestions down in the comments down below. And again, if you are interested in hearing about my first trimester, stay tuned. So I'm gonna dive right in. I did take notes throughout my entire first trimester. Now, as I shared, I'm already in my 15th week of pregnancy, which is 2 weeks into my second trimester. And I remember thinking like, pregnancy is dragging on, which is so sad to think, or say, I guess I should say, but I don't know, like I'm just excited to obviously meet our baby. And so those first couple weeks, because it was a huge secret, no one knew except me and Jacob, I just felt like it was going so slowly. And now that I'm in second trimester, I'm already like, wow, time is flying, and I still haven't recorded that video. So what I did is I have notes on my phone. I was trying to document everything that I could. So this video might be a little bit longer, but in that first trimester when I wasn't feeling my best and when I was trying to learn all the things, I watched so many of these videos and I loved them, and I loved the more detail that was shared. So hopefully this video is insightful to you. If you're pregnant, I would love to know how far along you are. And yeah, so hopefully this is interesting to you. I'm gonna start with my pre-pregnancy symptoms. Again, I am gonna be reading some of these things off my phone because I was just saving everything in my notes section of my phone. One of the most common, I guess, symptoms for me is I'm always out of breath and I'm always super thirsty. So if I'm drinking my water throughout this video, I'm sorry, I'm always thirsty. So diving right in, I got asked this a ton, so if you haven't watched any of our other videos, I will link me finding out I'm pregnant in the comments or in the description down below. But I was asked a ton on that video if I had any pre-pregnancy symptoms. Because we were trying, it was in my mind that I was like, am I pregnant? Am I not pregnant? So I was thinking about everything. I was thinking about literally every single symptom and every single thing that was going on. Like, does that mean I'm pregnant? Does that not? And I'm sure those of you that were actively trying to get pregnant, you can relate, because you're probably thinking to yourself like, that wait is terrible, right? Like it's like 2-ish weeks that you have to wait to figure out if like you're gonna start your cycle or you're pregnant. And so some of the pre-pregnancy symptoms that I personally feel like were possibly symptoms were, we went on a cruise in March. So it was like the very end of March. And then right when we got back from our cruise, we went to Disney World. And so in that time frame, that was like the waiting period for me. When we were in Disney World, I got super like lightheaded and I just felt really weird. We were walking around Epcot and I just remember feeling like dizzy, almost sick. Like I was to the point where I was like, Jacob, I need to eat something now. And that's like so unlike me, but I was like, my blood sugar's off or something's wrong, like I need water. I was probably like not drinking enough water in addition to walking 20,000 plus steps around Disney World. That could have been it, but I just felt off. Like that day I just remember feeling off. And like seriously, 20,000 steps in a day in addition to our workouts was a lot, but we had so much fun. The next thing was we got home on April 2nd from Disney World, and Jacob made us both cocktails that evening, and I remember like having a couple drinks of it and just being like, this doesn't even sound good. Like I don't even want it, and that's pretty unlike me. Jacob and I enjoy having cocktails together in the evening when we're watching movies or when we're having dinner or whatever the case may be, and I literally had like 2 sips and then I was like, that just doesn't sound good. Like I just don't want that. And I didn't finish it. And I remember thinking like, that's weird, like why wouldn't I want it? It tasted great, it just didn't, like, I don't know, my body didn't want it. And I ended up taking my pregnancy test on April 5th and getting the positive. So I feel like maybe it was my body's way of saying like, you shouldn't be drinking alcohol, or you don't need alcohol in your body, you're pregnant. But who knows, I have no idea. So again, I did test on April 5th and I got a positive. We were 3 weeks and 4 days at that point. I do remember that week also my workouts feeling really challenging, and I remember just thinking like, am I pregnant, or is it because I just got back from, it was like 14 days of vacation, like 12 days of vacation. And I was like, I don't know, I'm overthinking everything. And I was trying really hard to push like all the thoughts aside, because if I wasn't pregnant, I didn't want to get my hopes up. And so I just remember those workouts being super hard. I remember like falling to my knees on some of them and just being like, ugh, I cannot do this. And it was so unlike me, because normally I can push through a workout with no problem. So those were like my only pre-pregnancy symptoms. Again, were any of them actual pre-pregnancy symptoms? I don't know. Some people say you can feel implantation. I have no clue. I always imagined I'd be someone that would like pinpoint all these little things, and since I got pregnant, I've been very like go with the flow, which I enjoy. So April 5th, we found out we were expecting. I surprised Jacob. Again, I will link that video down below. He had no idea, and I have no idea how, but he was so shocked. You'll have to watch the video. He was so shocked, and I am very proud of myself for keeping like a straight face when he got home and allowing him to shower and get ready before surprising him. But we found out on April 5th. I made a doctor's appointment that day, and our appointment was for 7 weeks, so we had to wait a month after finding out we were pregnant to go to our doctors, which was like the hardest thing ever, because I didn't feel pregnant, and I still don't feel pregnant, which is so weird to me, because so much has happened, and you'll hear like so much happens while the baby's growing that first trimester, and it's just like it's all happening and you don't really feel it, and your body doesn't really change. But anyways, we went to dinner with his family that night, and that was the first time I had to like tell his family, oh no, I'm not drinking. Like, I'm not one to just, when we all go out to dinner, turn down a drink, like a cocktail on occasion. And so everyone was like, why aren't you drinking? And I was like, oh, I'm actually a part of this really cool test group for a brand new program that we're launching in July, which is true. I was in that test group. So it was the perfect little like, can't drink because I'm in a test group and I have to follow the rules completely to see what kind of results you get. But they had no clue. No clue. His family, my family, no one knew. So it was perfect. But yeah, I just remember like, oh, I found out that day. I told Jacob and we immediately went to dinner, and the whole time we were at dinner, he was just like giant smile on his face, like wanting to tell his whole family, but we waited quite a while. So week 4 is when I really started documenting like exactly how I was feeling and the size of the baby and things like that. So week 4, baby was the size of a poppy seed, which is itty bitty, teeny, 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 tiny, like so small. I've been using the app, The Bump, for all of these little updates. And I remember just like imagining like a poppy seed. Like I always think of like a lemon poppy seed muffin. They're so tiny. How can something so tiny become a human? Like, mind-blowing. So the baby is the size of a poppy seed, and at that point it was just a ball of cells that was splitting into an embryo and building the blocks of the spine, the brain, the backbone, those important features, but it was just basically a ball of cells. I had no symptoms that first week, that first full week of knowing I was pregnant, other than being a little bit short of breath, which is still a thing, and I imagine it'll just get worse as baby takes up all of my stomach. And also I was very thirsty, which is also still a thing. But your body needs a lot of water through pregnancy and just in life. And so those are both like super, super minor symptoms. Moving into week 5, baby is the size of an apple seed. So that's a pretty big growth spurt, I feel like, but an apple seed is still tiny. I remember every week telling Jacob, the baby's this big now, the baby's this big now, and we would just look at each other and be like, that's so small. Like, so small. It's just bizarre. It said that the baby didn't look like much more than a tadpole at this point, but that the heart, stomach, liver, and kidneys were all starting to form. So that's what I'm saying, like, so much happens within your little baby before you feel anything, before you realize that you're growing a human. Like, some people don't even know they're pregnant until week 6 or 7. I think my mom said she was like 8 or 9 weeks along, maybe even further, when she found out she was pregnant with me. And so it's just bizarre, like, as I'm saying all these things, like, think about how many people have no clue. And like, their baby's almost fully developed. It's bizarre, mind-blowing. Every single thing, every week, I was just like, wow. So a lot of important things were forming in week 5. Week 5, my symptoms, shortness of breath, but not as bad as the first week. I was very sleepy and I was craving caffeine, but I personally chose to cut my caffeine intake down. The only form of caffeine that I'm drinking still to this day is 1 scoop of my all-natural plant-based pre-workout, which has 100 milligrams of caffeine. My doctor did clear me to drink up to 200 milligrams of caffeine, but I just wanted to play it safe, so I'm just doing 1 scoop a day, and that's it. But my body was like craving coffee, craving caffeine, and I think it was just because I was tired and I wasn't used to being that tired. Like, I'm not a napper. I'm not someone that likes to sleep in. I like to stay up late, I like to wake up early, and I just go. And so my body took a huge hit that week, and I was just like, I need a nap. I need to lay on the couch at like 3 p.m. every day or like 2 p.m. every day. I was just like, done. And so that was very weird for me. Towards the end of the week, I started feeling a little bit queasy. And then again, week 5 is when like my boobs started getting really sore. That's very common. And I just was really scared to be nauseous my entire first trimester, because you hear all the horror stories, right? All the horror stories. And I was just like, I'm gonna be that girl that is sick literally the entire pregnancy. And I just have to say, those of you that are sick your entire pregnancy, you are super women. Like, you are incredible, because I would be a huge baby. And I am so thankful that that did not happen to me, but I did have a couple weeks of nausea, and it started at the end of week 5. And week 5, it was also really hard to go all out in my workouts, because I was starting to not feel the best. But I will say, to this day, I have yet to miss a workout. I have taken rest days only when they were scheduled into my workout plan, but I have worked out every single scheduled day that I was supposed to, and I am very proud of that. Okay, week 6. In the 6th week of pregnancy, baby is the size of a sweet pea. My app started telling me this week that I could know how like big the baby was. So if you're wondering, in week 6, your baby is 0.25 inches, which is so small, right? So tiny. And this was a very rough week for me. I remember reading and learning that baby is like circulating blood with an increasingly more sophisticated circulatory system. And in the week 6, the nose, eyes, ears, chin, and cheeks are all starting to sprout. How bizarre is that? Like, the week before it was a baby tadpole, and now it's like developing a face. I have a lot of notes on this week because it was a very rough week for me. Like I said, at the end of week 5, I started getting queasy, and it just kind of progressed and got a little bit worse. And I think it got better around week 9. But I literally did day by day because every day was so different. So day 1 was rough. I had nausea all day. I spent most of the day trying to fake that I felt fine on my Instagram, because I do run an Instagram business, and at this time I hadn't shared with the world yet, right? Well, all day I was Googling all the morning sickness remedies. No pre-workout or caffeine sounded good at that point anymore. I actually even broke down and cried during my cardio workout. I still pushed myself to do my workout. Some movement is better than none, and I felt better after my workout, but I did break down in tears thinking like, this is it. I'm not gonna be able to work out, I'm not gonna be able to eat clean, I'm not gonna be able to do anything, and I was just like having a mental breakdown that day. It was very hard, but I did realize my body was craving more carbs, and that helped a lot too. So day 2, I woke up early to quickly get some toast in the toaster and into my body to try and beat the morning sickness. I spent a couple hours on the couch in the morning after I ate my toast. And then I could finally mix up some pre-workout and ease into a leg workout. So that day I was able to drink my pre-workout. I was trying to remind myself constantly the entire day, like, I'm not sick, I'm pregnant. I'm not sick, I'm pregnant, because it's true. Like, I didn't have the flu, I was pregnant, I am pregnant. And so many women go through this, right? And so I just had to constantly remind myself, like, so many people do this. You can do this. So many people do this. And I'm very grateful that I work for myself and I don't have to be standing all day teaching. I used to be a teacher, but this week was mentally challenging. Week 6, day 4, I had documented that I said, is it bad to think I am already not enjoying pregnancy? Which I feel so bad saying, but that's what was going through my mind that week. I remember telling Jacob, like, if this is what pregnancy is going to be like the entire time, I'm not doing it again. And now I feel great, and I would love 2, maybe 3 children, but that week I was like, I'm done. After this, I'm done. Of course, we are so excited to be bringing a little baby into the world, but I just was not feeling good. And at that point, I couldn't talk to my mom about it. Like, it was a huge secret. The only person I could talk to / complain to was Jacob. So thank you for being amazing, Jacob, but I was not a nice person that week. And I said, my brain wants to do all the things, but my body and my stomach say otherwise. Not as nauseous today, but eating / drinking all things peppermint. So that week I learned that peppermint was helping the nausea. I literally started, and they're still all over our house, putting little things like this, Altoids. These ones are wintergreen. I haven't needed them in a long time, but they were all over the place. So I have them in my office, next to my bed, on the couch, like all over, because when I started not feeling well, which was most of the day, I woke up not feeling great and I fell asleep not feeling great. I never got sick, but peppermint type things helped a ton. I was literally doing peppermint tea, peppermint candies, like anything I could to curb that nauseous feeling that just had me like wanting to lay on the couch and cry all day. And I know I feel like I'm being so dramatic, but I don't do well with sickness, and it was a rough week for me. But I will say I would do it again, because I just had to push through a couple weeks of it. We stocked up on all things easy carbs, because I couldn't even get myself to make like my normal meals, and I'm a very routine person. I eat the same meals all the time. Eggs were grossing me out. Vegetables sounded awful. So I was just trying to find easy carbs that I could like grab and like lay on the couch and eat. So it was like Altoid. I had a lot of the Altoids. I had a lot of Lifesavers. I had a lot of saltines, breads, things like that. Peppermint gum, things that were just like keeping my mouth busy, trying to keep little bits of food constantly in my system to try and ease that nauseous feeling. Towards the end of the week, I discovered that Uncle Dan's, I don't know if you guys have had Uncle Dan's, but it's like a ranch dip. It was so appealing to me. And I was eating it with carrots and cucumbers and things like that. So I was like, if I can eat Uncle Dan's, I can eat vegetables, and my body needs vegetables. So I was able to start getting some vegetables in again. But that whole week, eggs, raw meat, those things were grossing me out. Jacob had to do a lot of the meat cooking. I just stayed away from eggs completely. And eggs are like my favorite. If you guys follow me, I eat them every day. So it was so hard to figure out like, what do I eat? But I couldn't convince myself to drink pre-workout most of that week. It just didn't sound good to me, which is surprising because it's like a tart lemony flavor, which I love, and I could drink all day, but I don't. But yeah, I started having some weird dreams that week as well, and I heard one other person on YouTube say this, but they were like scary. They were like dreams about murder and dreams about death, and it was like I would wake up like in a panic. And I don't know what, that has never happened to me before. But I just remember I would wake up and I'd be scared because I was like in a dark room. Obviously Jacob was there, our dogs were there, like nothing was happening, but I just remember being like, this is so weird, and it would be so hard to fall back asleep. My chin started breaking out that week, and I have had more breakouts than normal, not too many, but again, they're all kind of around my chin area. And workouts were still happening, but they were being modified so that I wouldn't make myself sick. And like I said, I was very proud I did not miss any of my workouts. Up next is week 7. During the 7th week, baby is the size of a blueberry, so about 0.51 inches, so half an inch. And in this week, baby is generating 100 new brain cells every minute. Every single minute, 100 new brain cells. Bizarre. We had our very first doctor's appointment on the very first day of my 7th week. Baby was measuring exactly on track with what I had tracked our date of conception, so right at 7 weeks 1 day, which was awesome to know that like I was able to pinpoint that. And then we went and had tacos and chips and salsa after, and that was something that sounded good every single day for the whole week. And it kind of made me not so nauseous. So I loved that, but that's something I love all the time, but it sounded extra good that week. I was feeling much better with just little spurts of nausea throughout the whole day. So again, that's where like my Altoids came in handy. I just kept them in my pocket. Like if I was wearing a jacket like this, I would just put a handful in my pocket so that wherever I was, when I got nauseous, I could just pop one in my mouth and it would really help. I was able to eat a little bit more vegetables. Again, still not craving meats, so no meat sounded good. But if someone else made it, it was all right. Like the tacos, I could eat tacos. If Jacob cooked like hamburgers or something, I could convince myself to do that. But food in general just wasn't sounding like super appealing. I was able to eat eggs again. I think the hard thing for me with eggs was I like over easy eggs, and you can't really have over easy eggs when you're pregnant, so I was having to learn how to eat eggs in a new way. And I don't really love scrambled eggs, or I don't know, so it was just a little bit of a learning thing for me. But I was able to eat eggs again. Toast is life. I wrote in caps, toast is life. So toast was making me feel great. Uncle Dan's and raw veggies like carrots and zucchini was awesome. I was able to get some of my vegetables in that way. I did buy a bigger bra that week. In the first trimester, areas are growing and it's not your stomach. And so I did buy a bigger size sports bra because literally nothing was comfortable to sleep in. And I guess like I've always been one to sleep in a sports bra. I know a lot of people don't sleep in any, but I was very uncomfortable. So got a bigger sports bra, problem solved. So in week 7, we had our pregnancy photo shoot. So we had our wedding photographer, her name's Jonda. We had her do our pregnancy announcement photo shoot as well. And so the pictures I shared on Instagram, she took those photos for us, and we did that week, week 7, before we had told any of our family. So it was like a huge secret. We went and took these pictures. It was so amazing. She does a fantastic job. And then I also wrote that in week 7, I caved and baked cookies. You guys that know me know I'm not like a huge sweets person unless someone else makes it and like gives it to me. I baked cookies. Even Jacob was like, what are you doing? So I baked cookies. That was unlike me. And that was all of week 7. Moving into week 8, baby is the size of a raspberry. Still so tiny, like so tiny, right? And so much has happened already. So at this point, baby is 0.63 inches long, so not even an inch long, and weighs 0.04 ounces. Now we're able to know the weight of the baby. So I was always like, how much weight am I gonna gain in my first trimester? Am I gonna blow up right away? And then when I started seeing these weights of the baby, I was like 0.04. I should not be gaining weight. And I honestly, like, just to be honest, I have only gained like 3 pounds to date. So I didn't gain a ton of weight in my first trimester. I just always imagined in my head, like, the day I find out I'm gonna be pregnant, I'm gonna get this big belly and be huge, and that was obviously not the case. I still don't really look pregnant. I still don't really feel pregnant, which I guess is a blessing because I know that is coming. That time is coming. But At week 8, baby is very tiny, size of a raspberry, and weighing 0.04 ounces. Baby's fingers and toes are now only slightly webbed, and the tail, yes, baby had a tail, is gone. So it doesn't look like a tadpole anymore. I was feeling much better week 8, still craving all the carbs. Nausea was like way better, just random, like couple days throughout the week, but not near as bad as the first 2 weeks or the previous 2 weeks. And I said super groggy in the mornings, but likely because I made so many trips to the bathroom throughout the night. Jacob and I actually switched spots on our bed because his spot was closer to the bathroom, and I was getting up like 2 or 3 times every single night to go to the bathroom because you're drinking so much water. And so we switched sides of the bed to make me getting up and going to the bathroom less of an ordeal. But I was super groggy in the mornings, which was so unlike me. I've always been a very like chipper morning person, and I was like, can I stay in bed till noon? And the last thing, oh, I have Graves' disease, so I have a thyroid condition. My numbers are fantastic right now. However, I take thyroid medicine every single day. And for your first trimester, you're supposed to be on one kind for my specific condition. You're supposed to be on one kind, and then when you move into your second trimester, you switch back to the other kind that I was taking previous to pregnancy. So anyways, the thyroid medicine that I took during my first trimester, during this week, was so hard to take. From that week on until I switched medication, it was so hard to take. It had the worst aftertaste. It would be like I'd put it in my mouth and I would drink so much water and I could not swallow the pill, and it would start dissolving, and then the taste, it was bad news. So I would have to get a huge mouthful of water, take the pill, swallow it, and then I would pop one of my Altoids in right after. And honestly, I'd have to eat these for like an hour after because the aftertaste was killing me. It was so bad. Thankfully, I am not on that medication anymore. I switched back to the kind that I normally would take prior to pregnancy. But I was on one that was safer for the baby in those early developmental stages. Moving into week 9. In week 9, baby is the size of a cherry. It is 0.91 inches long, so almost a full inch, which is still so tiny. And at this point, it weighed 0.07 ounces. Baby is no longer an embryo. He or she is a fetus in developing facial features. So I thought that was so weird that until week 9, it was technically an embryo. It wasn't even a fetus, which I hate that word, but it was just an embryo. So now it's a fetus and it's developing facial features. Overall, I felt pretty good. Still not super overly attracted to veggies, which again is so unlike me. I used to eat like spinach, eggs, and toast for breakfast, a giant salad at lunch, some vegetables and hummus in the afternoon, and then more vegetables with dinner. And it was like, I was lucky if I could get in like 2 or maybe 3 servings of vegetables in a day. It was challenging. Carbs, they were still calling me. They were the only thing that really settled well with me. And gave me energy, obviously, to get through the day. And honestly, first trimester, I was just eating what sounded good. I was not overly like concerned about trying to be perfect with my nutrition because you're kind of in survival mode. Eat what you can. When you get into second trimester and your energy is like increased again and you're starting to have an appetite and stuff, like then zero your nutrition back in. Do what you can in that first trimester. You are creating a human. Give yourself grace. I was super tired, super exhausted the entire week. I felt like I could live in my bed. Thankfully, I am able to work from home, and if I need to, I can work in my bed. In week 9, we also told our family that we were having a baby. We told our moms on Mother's Day. There's a video of us sharing the news with our entire family on my channel as well. I can link that in the description down below as well. Moving right along into week 10, baby is now the size of a strawberry and officially bigger than an inch. Baby is 1.18 inches long and 0.14 ounces. So it's still less than 1 ounce, but growing right along, right? Baby has working arm joints and cartilage and bones that are forming. All vital organs are fully developed and starting to function. How crazy is that? I still like can't feel the baby moving at this point today in week 15. And so it's so bizarre to me that so much happened before I felt pregnant. During week 10, the baby's fingernails and hair are also slowly starting to appear. Overall, that week I felt much better. My nausea was like gone. Thankfully, I was getting so nervous because during my 12th week, I was going on vacation with some of the girls on my team, which I'll talk about, but I was like inching closer and closer to the vacation. I was like, how am I gonna go on this trip if I'm like nauseous all day? We were planning to do like hikes and workouts and all this stuff. And I was so scared, but finally, week 10, I started feeling really good again. I didn't have any days with nausea. We also announced publicly on social media that we were pregnant, and it was a really good week. Moving into week 11, the baby was the size of a lime, so finally growing. It feels so weird to compare my baby to like food. But now every time I see like an apple and a lemon and all these things, I'm like, I remember when my baby was that size. But pretty cool. Week 11, baby is moving all around now. We actually had an ultrasound that week, and Jacob went to that one with me. And the baby was like kicking and flipping and bouncing all around in there. And we also found out in week 11 that we were having a baby girl. We found out early using sneak peek test. Totally recommend it. So simple. And of course, now at this point, our doctor has confirmed that it was accurate. We also had a gender reveal with our family, and we had, and I have a video on that as well. And we had everyone like cast their votes, and the votes were like dead even. I believe it was girl, boy, split right down the middle. And we're having a girl, which is so crazy because I was the first girl born into the Raymond family, so my family, in 60 years. And Jacob's side of the family is like all boys. All boys, all boy cousins. He has some girl cousins that have been adopted into the family, but no biological girls in his family, like at all. So we were just like, we're having a boy. And we are not. We are having a girl. So we had a gender reveal week 11 as well, which was so fun. Week 12, this is the week that I went on vacation with my team. Baby's the size of a plum. She was now 2.09 inches long and weighing half an ounce. At this stage, baby's critical systems are formed. Baby is about to enter growth and maturation. I don't know if that's how you say it. The maturing stage, in which all the organs and tissue begin developing and growing very rapidly. So second trimester is really where like a lot of growth happens. And so I think that's what it's referring to. Baby is now opening and closing her fingers and curling her toes. So this week I traveled with my team to California. We hiked 9 miles. It was rough, but it was not just rough for me. Everyone was struggling, but it was hard. I'm just thankful I felt really good that week. No nausea. I was able to eat everything. I wasn't having any aversions or anything. It was an overall fantastic week. And then the last week of the first trimester, week 13. Baby is the size of a lemon, 2.91 inches long, almost 3 inches, and weighing 0.81 ounces. So still under an ounce, but during this week, baby is forming vocal cords and teeth. Obviously, they're not born with their teeth showing, but they're forming their teeth, like the structure. And baby now has fingernails, and intestines are moving from the umbilical cord into their place in the stomach. So I guess all the intestines are like up in the umbilical cord originally, and then they slowly move down. So that happened week 13. And week 13 was again a great week. I started having way more energy again, and my energy, I feel I feel like myself again, I guess I should say. I've started getting a little bit more common headaches, but I feel really good. So that is my entire first trimester. I will be doing another recap on my second trimester, but I did want to share a couple of my first trimester must-haves. Easy to go, or easy to grab carb snacks, granola bars, rice cakes, things like that. Toast, crackers, like things like that were needed. Other things were Tums. Tums I was cleared to take. I took them every evening when we got into bed, and like I've been saying, these were everything. My Altoids, Jacob loves them too, so we've just continued purchasing them. They're amazing. When I had team calls or one-on-one calls with my girls, I would put these in to just make me feel good while I sat here for the call, and then I would move to the couch. But those were like my big things. A water bottle with a straw so that I was sure I was drinking enough water. And then a huge thing was comfy leggings. When I wasn't feeling good and I was feeling nauseous, like I did not want anything tight on my stomach. Nothing. Like, do not put anything tight on my stomach because it would just make me feel worse. So the two leggings that I absolutely loved were my Lululemon Aligns as well as my Strong Physique Dream leggings. During that first trimester, I bought so many pair of Strong Physique Dream leggings because they were the only thing that were super comfortable and not too tight, but they went up high enough to where it felt really good. So that is my first trimester recap. I can't believe we are already to week 15. So much is changing. I will do a quick little belly shot. There's not much showing, but I think we're slowly starting to show a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. But I know it's bound to happen, so I'm not just gonna wish my time away. But I hope you enjoyed this. I will share a quick belly shot, and I will see you in my next video. If you enjoyed this, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I would love for you to comment down below with any other tips, anything that helped you through your first trimester, because we need to help each other out. And if there are other women watching this that are just starting their pregnancy, they could use your help as well. So please, in the comments down below, share how your first trimester was and things that helped you. Now, here's my belly shot, and then I'll see you later.
Nothing ever felt as good or as easy as when we were young. Oh, though I felt misunderstood, it was a pleasure running away